Want to know the dirty secret about how rich people actually manage money? It's not crypto, it's not stock tips, and it's so stupidly simple that financial advisors don't want you to know about it. Because if you knew, you'd stop paying them. I'm Cash Ethan, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact formula wealthy people use to build millions, whether they're making $30,000 or $300,000 a year. This isn't theory. This is the real playbook, and you can start using it before your next paycheck hits. Here's what blows my mind. Everyone thinks wealth management is complicated because the financial industry makes billions convincing you it's rocket science. They want you confused. They want you overwhelmed, because the more complicated they make it sound, the more likely you are to pay someone else to handle it for you. But the truth? The fundamentals haven't changed in decades. And they're so simple you could teach them to a teenager over coffee. The wealthy understand something most people completely miss. It's not about how much money flows into your account. It's about what happens to that money once it gets there. This is the part that changes everything. You can earn six figures and still be broke. Still be living paycheck to paycheck. Still be stressed about money every single month if you don't manage it right. Meanwhile, someone earning half that amount can build serious wealth, retire early, and never worry about money again by following one simple system. The difference isn't luck. It's not connections. It's not some secret investment opportunity. It's following a basic formula that anyone can implement. The numbers are percentages, and each one serves a specific purpose in your financial life. Think of it like a recipe. You wouldn't bake a cake by throwing random ingredients together and hoping for the best, right? Same principle with your money. You need the right proportions, the right balance, or the whole thing falls apart. The system is called the 15-65-20 rule, and I'm going to break down each number and why it matters more than you probably think. The first number, 15%, is the most important in the entire system. 15% of every dollar you earn gets set aside for your future. Not for bills, not for that thing you've been wanting to buy, not for entertainment. This money has one job and one job only. Work for you while you sleep. Now, I know what you're thinking. 15% sounds like a lot, especially when you're already tight on cash and trying to make ends meet every month. But here's what changes everything about how you view this number. This 15% does two critical things that will completely transform your financial situation. First, it creates your financial safety net. And I'm not talking about some vague concept here. I'm talking about the difference between a problem and a catastrophe. Life throws curveballs. Your car breaks down right after you've paid all your bills for the month. You get hit with unexpected medical bills. Your company downsizes and you're suddenly looking for a new job. Without a financial cushion, these aren't just problems. They're full-blown disasters. You're not just dealing with the issue itself. You're scrambling to figure out how to pay for it. You're reaching for credit cards, taking on debt that follows you around for months or even years, paying interest on top of the original problem. But with that 15% working for you, these situations become manageable inconveniences. Annoying? Sure, but not life-destroying. You handle it, move on, and actually sleep at night knowing you're prepared for whatever comes next. Second, and this is where things get absolutely insane, this money doesn't just sit in a savings account earning practically nothing. It gets put to work generating more money through compound interest. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he actually said that or not doesn't matter. He was absolutely right. When your money starts earning returns, and those returns start earning their own returns, you create this snowball effect that transforms modest contributions into massive wealth over time. Let me show you exactly how powerful this is with real numbers that'll probably change how you think about starting early versus starting later. Sarah invests $10,000 at age 30. She finds investments earning 6% annually, which is actually pretty conservative compared to historical market performance. She doesn't add another penny to this investment for the next 20 years. Just lets it sit there and grow. When Sarah turns 50, that original $10,000 has grown to over $32,000. She literally tripled her money without doing anything except waiting. James takes a different approach. He waits until he's 40 to start investing. Maybe he was paying off debt. Maybe he just didn't prioritize it. But then he gets serious. He contributes $2,000 every single year for 10 years. Same 6% return as Sarah. By the time James turns 50, He's invested $20,000 total, twice what Sarah put in, and his account is worth about $28,000. Think about that for a second. Sarah invested half as much money as James, but ended up with more wealth. The difference came down to giving her money more time to compound and grow. Those extra 10 years made all the difference, even though she never added additional contributions. This example illustrates why this 15% rule is so powerful when you start early. Even small amounts can grow into substantial wealth when given enough time. And here's the kicker: compound interest accelerates over time. The growth you see in year 20 is dramatically larger than the growth you see in year 5. It's not linear, it's exponential. Smash that like button right now if this is making sense, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Seriously, your future self will thank you for taking action today. Now, where should this 15% actually go? Because not all investment options are created equal, and this matters more than you might think. The wealthy understand that the government actually gives you special accounts designed to help you build wealth more efficiently. These accounts come with tax advantages that can significantly boost your returns over time. We're talking about potentially tens of thousands of dollars in additional wealth over your lifetime just from using the right account types. If your employer offers a retirement plan with matching contributions, that's literally free money sitting on the table. When they match your contributions, you're getting an instant 100% return before your money even gets invested in anything. Show me another investment that guarantees doubling your money instantly. You can't, because it doesn't exist. If your company matches up to 5% of your salary and you're only contributing 3%, you're leaving free money on the table. That's like finding a $20 bill on the sidewalk and deciding to only pick up $10 of it. Makes no sense, right? Beyond employer plans, there are individual accounts with serious tax benefits. In the US, traditional and Roth IRAs. In the UK, ISAs. Other countries have their own versions. These let your investments grow without being eaten alive by taxes along the way, which can add up to tens of thousands in additional wealth over a lifetime. The wealthy strategy is beautifully simple. Max out tax-advantaged accounts first, then move to regular investment accounts if you still have money to invest. It's like getting a discount on building wealth, and the government gives you these discounts as an incentive to save for your future. When it comes to actually investing this money, here's another secret that might disappoint you if you're looking for excitement and drama. The wealthy keep it incredibly boring. While everyone else is chasing hot stock tips from their cousin's friend who supposedly knows someone at some company, or trying to time the market perfectly by buying low and selling high, successful investors put their money into simple diversified funds that track the overall market. These are called passive funds, or index funds, and they're basically the financial equivalent of setting your investments on autopilot and walking away. Instead of trying to pick individual winning companies, which even professional fund managers fail at most of the time, you're buying a tiny piece of hundreds or even thousands of companies all at once. It's like ordering the sampler platter at a restaurant, instead of betting everything on one dish that might turn out to be absolutely terrible. You don't need to become a financial expert or spend your weekends researching quarterly earnings reports and analyzing balance sheets. You don't need to predict which companies will succeed or fail. You're essentially betting on the overall growth of the economy, which historically has been a pretty safe bet over long periods of time. Plus, these funds come with incredibly low fees, which means more of your money actually gets to work for you instead of disappearing into someone else's pocket. And it's amazing how those small fees can absolutely destroy your returns over time. A fund that charges 2% annually might not sound like much, just 2%, right? But over 30 years, that difference in fees can cost you tens of thousands of dollars in lost growth. The wealthy understand that consistency beats brilliance almost every time. They'd rather earn steady, reliable returns year after year than swing for the fences trying to hit it big and risk striking out completely. It's not glamorous, it won't make for exciting dinner party stories, but it works. And that's really all that matters when you're building long-term wealth. The second number, 65%, covers your basic living expenses, and it's where most people either win or lose at managing money effectively. This is the battleground. These expenses have a sneaky way of expanding to fill whatever space you give them. You know exactly how this works. You get a raise at work and suddenly your old apartment feels too small, too cramped, not good enough anymore. Your reliable car starts looking outdated compared to what your coworkers are driving. That vacation you used to think was extravagant becomes your new baseline for what you deserve. Before you know it, you're earning significantly more money than you were a few years ago, but somehow feeling just as financially stressed as before. Maybe even more stressed. Economists call it lifestyle inflation. I call it the reason people earning $200,000 a year can still be living paycheck to paycheck. Your expenses will expand to consume whatever income you allow them to consume if you don't set firm boundaries. The 65% cap is your defense against this natural tendency. By setting a firm limit on how much of your income goes toward essentials, you create boundaries that protect your ability to save and invest. It forces you to make conscious choices about your spending, rather than just letting it drift upward whenever you have a little extra money coming in. You're putting yourself in control instead of letting your expenses control you. I'll be honest with you, keeping fundamentals to 65% isn't always easy, especially if you live in an expensive city where rent alone might eat 40 to 50% of your income before you even think about food or transportation. But here's the thing about constraints. They force creativity and make you find solutions you wouldn't have considered otherwise. Maybe that means getting a roommate to split housing costs. Not ideal, but it works. Maybe it means choosing a slightly longer commute in exchange for significantly lower rent. Maybe it means buying a reliable used car instead of financing something newer and more expensive. These aren't necessarily fun decisions, but they're the kind of decisions that create space in your budget for wealth building. What actually qualifies as fundamental here? We're talking housing, transportation, food, utilities, true necessities that keep your life functioning. The streaming services, gym memberships, dining out 3 times a week, impulse purchases at Target, those fall into a completely different category. Housing typically represents the biggest chunk of this 65%, which makes sense because shelter is pretty much non-negotiable unless you want to live in your car. But there's a massive difference between having a place to live and having the perfect place to live. The wealthy often choose to live below their means in this area, at least early in their wealth-building journey, because they understand that an extra few hundred per month in housing costs can translate to tens of thousands of dollars in lost investment growth over time. That fancy apartment in the trendy neighborhood might feel great now, but it could cost you hundreds of thousands in future wealth. Transportation is another area where you can make smart choices that free up serious money for more important things. The average car payment in America is now over $700 per month, which is absolutely insane when you actually stop and think about it. You're paying $700 every single month for something that's actively losing value the moment you drive it off the lot. It's a depreciating asset that you're going into debt to own. Meanwhile, a reliable used vehicle might cost you $300 per month. And that $400 difference could be going toward investments that actually grow in value over time. After 10 years of investing that $400 monthly at reasonable returns, you could be looking at over $60,000 in your investment account. Suddenly, that shiny new car doesn't look like such a great deal anymore, does it? Food is where things get really interesting because this category spans everything from genuine necessities to pure entertainment disguised as necessity. You need to eat to survive. That's not negotiable. But you don't need $15 avocado toast for breakfast or take out 5 nights a week because you're too tired to cook. The wealthy tend to be strategic about their food spending. They cook at home more often, meal prep to save time and money, and treat restaurant meals as occasional treats rather than default options. The goal isn't living like a monk or depriving yourself of everything enjoyable. It's about being intentional with your spending in these fundamental categories so you create room for fun stuff while still building wealth for your future. The final number, 20%, might actually be the most important part of the entire system, even though it's the one people feel most guilty about. This is money set aside specifically for entertainment, hobbies, spontaneous purchases, travel, whatever brings you genuine joy. Why would wealthy people deliberately budget money for fun when they could theoretically be investing every single dollar? 2 words: psychology and sustainability. People who try to save and invest every spare penny eventually burn out and abandon their financial plans entirely. I've seen it happen over and over. It's exactly like trying to stick to an impossibly strict diet where you never allow yourself anything enjoyable. Eventually, you crack. You binge on everything you've been denying yourself, blow through months of progress in a weekend, and then feel so guilty that you just give up on the whole thing. The 20% rule prevents this financial binge purge cycle by giving you explicit permission to spend money on things you enjoy, completely guilt-free. When you know that 20% of your income is designated for fun, you can make those purchases without feeling like you're derailing long-term goals or stealing from your future. This psychological aspect is absolutely crucial because building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. You need to create a system that you can stick with for decades, not just for a few motivated months, when your New Year's resolution energy is high. If you're getting real value from this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm dropping more financial truth bombs every single week that could literally change your life and your bank account. There's actually fascinating research backing this up. Studies show that people who give themselves spending flexibility are significantly more likely to stick with their savings goals over the long haul. It's completely counterintuitive, but allowing yourself to spend money actually helps you save money in the long run. Who would have thought that being a little bit loose with your budget could make you more successful financially? This 20% can cover everything from that morning coffee ritual that keeps you sane and functional to the occasional shopping spree when you find something you really want to planning actual vacations without feeling like you're stealing from your retirement fund. The key word here is intentional. You're not accidentally overspending and then feeling guilty about it later. You're not lying to yourself about what category something falls into. You're deliberately allocating this money for enjoyment because you understand that life is meant to be lived, not just endured while you wait for some magical future moment when you'll finally have enough money to be happy. Here's where most people completely mess this up, though. They either skip this step entirely and try to save every possible dollar, which leads to burnout and resentment toward their entire financial plan, or they flip to the other extreme and treat every purchase as falling under the 20% umbrella, which obviously defeats the entire purpose of having categories in the first place. Oh, I needed those shoes. That's definitely my 20%. No, that's not how this works. The wealthy are disciplined about this boundary. When the 20% is gone for the month, it's gone. They don't borrow from next month's fund money. They don't start dipping into the 15% that's supposed to be working for their future. They don't suddenly decide that something from the 65% category can move to the 20% category because they want to buy something else. That boring consistency I keep talking about? This is where it really pays off. The 15-65-20 rule sounds elegantly simple in theory, but implementing it in real life can feel absolutely impossible when you're already stretched thin financially. If you're currently spending 90% or more of your income just to survive, just to keep the lights on and food on the table, then hearing about this system might feel more frustrating than helpful. Like, great cash, but I literally don't have 15% to save right now. What am I supposed to do? But here's the thing about financial transformation that most people don't understand. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't require you to completely overhaul your entire life in one dramatic move. The wealthy didn't get where they are by making perfect decisions from day one. Most of them started exactly where you are right now, struggling to make ends meet and wondering how they'd ever get ahead. They got where they are by making slightly better decisions consistently over time. That's it. Not perfect decisions, just slightly better ones. If you can't do 15% right now, start with 5%. Start with 3% if that's all you can manage. If 65% for essentials seems completely impossible because you're at 85%, aim for 80% this month and work your way down. The specific numbers matter less than developing the actual habit of living within intentional boundaries and tracking where your money goes. Once you prove to yourself that you can stick to whatever percentages you choose, that you can actually control your spending and save consistently, you can gradually adjust them to match the full system. The beautiful thing about this approach is that it grows naturally with your income. When you finally get that raise or promotion you've been working toward, the dollar amounts in each category increase automatically, but the percentages stay exactly the same. This prevents lifestyle inflation from completely eating up your additional income while still allowing you to enjoy some of the benefits of earning more money. You get to upgrade your life a little bit while still massively increasing your savings rate in absolute dollar terms. And here's something that might genuinely blow your mind. Most wealthy people didn't start out wealthy. They didn't inherit millions. They didn't win the lottery. They started as completely regular people working regular jobs who happened to stumble across systems like this one and had the discipline to stick with them long enough to see real results. The difference between them and everyone else who stays stuck financially isn't intelligence or luck, or having rich parents who gave them a head start. It's consistency and patience. That's literally it. The 15-65-20 rule isn't some revolutionary billionaire secret locked away in a vault that only the ultra-wealthy know about. It's basic math wrapped in discipline and consistency, which apparently makes it rarer than a unicorn in today's world. 15% to your future self, working automatically through the power of compound interest. Thank you for starting today, or wonder why you waited so long to get started. The choice is completely yours. The system is right here. The knowledge is right here. All that's left is execution. This content is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and any actions you take based on this information are solely your responsibility.